How do you prevent your characters from collapsing the economy of the realm? In a previous video I made, I showed how one of my players has a ledger for all the gold they keep. They're level 16 and they finished an entire campaign based around dragons. So they've pillaged, I don't know, maybe 5 dragon hordes? And a few people had similar experiences. Their players have gone through at least 2 dragon hordes and now they have more money than they know what to do with. And gold just becomes an abstract, useless concept in the game. I did see some stories where people were talking about how the DM would steal their gold or find some ways for the gold to disappear. Personally, that's not the kind of game I like to play. Instead, I just encourage the players to spend their gold. The obvious way to do that is just make stuff for them to buy. Have shops that have low-key magic items that won't break your game, but add a little bit of fun to it. Especially consumable items. Stuff like makeup, candles, chalks, all kinds of items that once the players are done with them, it's no longer in their inventory. This gives the player something to spend money on, but not something that they get and then they're like, oh, I don't ever need to buy this again. You can find these all over the internet, especially from places like Griffin Saddlebag. A lot of third-party creators make these items. And besides just making items, my players spend a ton of money upgrading items. See, they've got their favorite smith, and that smith knows how to magically enchant items. So if you have like a +1 sword, if you spend enough money and waited enough time, you can upgrade that to a +2. But they take it a step further than that. You see, our blood hunter likes to harvest things from monsters that they've killed. He uses his alchemy kit to make potions and stuff out of these items. But sometimes they take claws, bone, scales, and stuff like that, and they'll take it to a different kind of smith that can enchant items. If you've ever played Final Fantasy IX, eventually you get to a point in the game where it's not just enough to buy more and more powerful weapons, and they give you the option to synthesize weapons. So that's essentially what I've made. It's not just a smith, but there's another person that can enchant weapons based off of different monsters you've killed. This gives the players a way to spend money and gives them additional side quests to go on. The biggest way they spend money, though, is property. And I don't mean just buying a property. See, in my campaign, they were rewarded a townhome for one of the quests that they went on. But that requires upkeep. See, eventually their townhome would get broken into because they're famous heroes. So while they're out of town, people break into the townhome. So now they have to hire guards to protect the townhome. And besides just hiring protection, they use that townhome to make their own labs, to create libraries. Essentially, they have these little side hustles inside the townhome where they can do additional things like research, create their own items. And for that, they spend more money to go out and get the stuff for these little labs and libraries. This keeps the game challenging because now the players don't just have a hoard of money that whenever they want, they can just buy whenever they want. So it still adds a little bit of a challenge to the game, but it also allows for a creative outlet for the players. It doesn't just feel like a hack and slash where you go kill monsters, get money, go kill monsters, get money. It just helps the world to feel a little bit more lived in. Now, if you don't mind having your players with infinite amount of money, that's fine. I'm not saying that this is a necessity for any campaign, but my players seem to have a lot of fun with it. What are some creative ways that you've come up with to get your players to spend money?